I have a Zoe Macfarlane with me today, and Zoe is a creative writer and also an intuitive coach and energy healer. And she helps her clients shift the limiting blocks and beliefs to live and connect more to their purpose, their passion, and spirituality. So, welcome, Zoe.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Now, I first met Zoe when I was at the Eden retreat in Queensland last year, and I was really keen to chat more to her about the power of manifestation, which is what we're going to be chatting about today.
My favorite subject.
Absolutely. You've got such an awesome story that you just shared with me. First of all, can you just demystify what manifesting is and, give us a bit of an insight into what it actually is?
Yeah, I would consider it kind of like goal setting plus energy. So it's kind of like yes, we've all set goals, right? We've all had New Year's resolutions. The manifesting is kind of a little bit different on that journey. We start at the same point with like, okay, what is it that I want to bring into my life that's going to positively impact me and bring me joy? But from there, we then have a different mindset. We work on positivity, language, thoughts, these kinds of things. And we work on those on a day to day basis. With goals, we tend to be very action focused. With
Mm,
manifesting, we're very energy focused because everything in the universe has frequency and vibration. And that means that that thing that you want to call into your life also has one. So, a big power of manifesting is actually spending some time at the beginning when you're like, okay, I want this thing, is to spend some time actually dreaming up what that's going to feel like, what it's going to be like to share that with people, what it's going to be like, when you wake up in the morning, having that in your life and really getting clear on the feelings and emotions of that. And then once you've got clear on those emotions, then you can kind of say, okay, here's the benchmark of my energy on a day to day basis. And
mm.
then you can also say, I'm going to use that, the excitement that I've got from dreaming as the fuel for that, for the fuel that's going to kind of motivate me to take those inspired action steps to go and make that happen. It's really
Mm.
powerful.
Yeah, super powerful. And you mentioned thoughts before because we're always manifesting, aren't we? Whether it's positive or the negative.
And that's the challenge, right? It's just kind of the positive mindset is so important because we can manifest from a negative mindset. So we know we've all got people in our lives who maybe a bit doom and gloom and they're like, oh, I never win anything or I this will never happen. And it's just like the more you keep saying that, it just cannot happen. In your reality, you're blocking it from happening. And also culturally, we're in a very negative first culture. Your mum, when you were late for school, didn't say be on time. She said don't be late, not remember
Yeah.
your jumper, don't forget it. So when we kind of understand that we're actually kind of geared towards thinking and being a little bit more negative, we start training ourselves out of that, then there's so much freedom that comes from that. And that's where you start seeing all these small things that pop up and you're like, wow, this is all possible. And it's really very freeing.
Amazing. So, can you share how you learnt the power of manifesting? 'Cause I think
Yeah.
that's such a great story.
Mine started in 2011. So actually, I was handed a worksheet called Only Speak in Terms of What You Want. And so basically, it was just a two-page document. You just printed it out. I put it by my bathroom mirror and I would just read it. It took 2 minutes to read. So I was brushing my teeth, read this thing. And it just reminded you why it was really important to speak in the positivity, in the positive. So going through that day to day, started going in there. And then about day 7, it started really settling in. So at first, I was kind of horrified about how negative I was sounding, but I'm English,
Mm.
so give me some, the whinging palm is real. So I was kind of like horrified. I'd catch myself, but every time, it doesn't matter if you hear it. That's the important thing. It doesn't matter if you hear it, you say it, as long as you correct yourself straight after. You're kind of putting it out what you actually wanted to say to the universe. And then from there, day 7, it started getting easier. And then about day 10, I started winning prizes. I won a CD on the radio. It was 2011. I won tickets to an event. I got 4 invitations to New Zealand Fashion Week. I'd never even been once before. And by the end of the month, I won a holiday. So I was in New Zealand. I won a trip to Australia, including $1,000 spending money. And then from there, I went, ooh, this stuff works. And yeah, then that
Amazing.
kind of just set me on my journey from there. And then it just kind of gone strength to strength. And the more I've used my intuition, the greater my manifestations have got.
Interesting. So, how does intuition link into it? Because I totally understand the power of like positive language and positive thoughts, because I think your unconscious mind can't process a negative. can
Mm.
it? So whatever you're saying to it, it's like just believing with you. So like you say, don't be late. It's hearing be late.
Yeah, university
Yeah,
too, and it's just like you're setting yourself up for failure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So how does intuition tie into it?
So intuition is a really important part of manifesting because intuition is how you're going to be brave enough to go after what you want, right? So our ego mind's going to be like, you can't have that. That didn't work when you tried that before, and all of these things there. But actually, to beat your ego and to beat those kind of that negative mindset that's held you back, you actually have to be brave. But the universe always rewards bravery, always. And so what your job is to do is go, okay, if I've got really clear on what that thing is that I really want to call into my life, I'm really clear on what that's going to feel like and get excited by it. I'm then going to use that to fuel where I'm going. And then from there, when I'm taking my inspired action steps, I'm going to take action that feels good for me, not the path that everybody else might use. Even if the path, it might be okay if it's the path that everyone else uses, but it's just checking in, does this feel good for me, before you say yes to anything towards your manifestation. And you might be saying yes to something that doesn't make any sense if you're listening to intuition, where you're just like, you feel the
Okay.
pull of something and you don't know where it's going to lead you, because good manifesting is all about flow and surrender. So what often I find is that people quite often will expect to need to do everything themselves to make something happen. They used to be really ultra independent, be no, I got it myself, I'll do it. And then actually good manifesting is allowing to say that if I take my inspired action steps, the universe is going to sort out the right people, places, and things to make that come into my reality. But if your intuition is not turned on and you're not being brave, you're not going to maybe take some of the threads that you're given from the universe that are going to unleash that manifestation coming into your life easier, smoother, less effort, no hustle, all of that. So your intuition plays a really big part in it. And I always say, if you're not used to using your intuition, all you do is every time you hear it, you celebrate. If you hear it and you follow it, and you hear it and you don't. So if you're like, when you get those like, oh, I knew it, I knew that wasn't going to happen, or I knew that,
Yes.
celebrate. 100% celebrate, because maybe the next time or the time after that, you'll actually listen and you might be saying, I don't know why I'm doing this, but it feels like this is what I'm going to do. This feels good. And so that is just so freeing. And it just means you can have your manifestations way faster, way less.
Mm. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So we'll come back to that when I ask you some tips for how to like manifest well. But I'm really keen because this podcast is called Leading You. So and it's all about how we lead ourselves and for leaders of others, how we can like do that really effectively. So do you think manifesting is key to leadership?
Yes,
And if
100%.
you do, and so how so?
Well, one is if you're a good leader, you're leading by example, right? So if you have a negative mindset, negative language, or you have a can't do attitude, then how is anyone else in your team going to be a success? So there's kind of that part of it. There's also the what I've just said about bravery, right? Is, are you demonstrating bravery? How are you going to ask your teams to level up and go for something a little bit bigger that's actually going to improve the whole business if you're not showing that for yourself, which means that you are then also leading with your intuition as well. So I
Mm.
think, and the other thing as well, as part of a good manifesting journey, is you start working out where your energy is, where you are dropping your own energy. So an example I quite often give is, what happens if you're letting somebody into traffic and they don't give you the wave, right? Most people would give me an answer which is, oh, I get mad, I get disappointed. How hard is it? And then I said, okay, what have you just done to your energy? You dropped your energy based on a completely random stranger who's got nothing to do with your journey or your day. And so when we start kind of getting into that kind of element of things, then we can go, okay, if I start saying, okay, I don't know why I'm allowing somebody, start on a journey saying, why am I allowing somebody to drop my energy? And you start exploring that, then you start having more compassion for people. Because then you say,
Mm.
okay, I actually don't know why that person didn't give me the wave. They might be having the worst day possible. And so I'm just going to, let them off the hook. And then you're becoming a better leader because you have more compassion and kindness, and you're not taking everything personally around why something isn't happening for you in that moment.
So that can be a massive flip in mindset for people.
So just start
Huge.
with traffic. Just start with letting people into the traffic without expecting the wave. And then just, if you're having trouble, just think, I don't know why that person can give me, and I just send them a rainbow. I just think, okay, I'm sending you some energy. That's if I notice. Nowadays I don't even notice, because I'm not looking for it, because I'm not trained
Yes.
myself to be like disappointed that, it's not coming my way. I'm gonna do my absolute best throughout the day to not allow anybody else to drop my energy down.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. So for leaders, because there's so many things that can get them down. It might be the environment, clients, people, lots of things that aren't in their control.
Mm.
But what's in control for a leader is the leader
Mhm.
and how they conduct themselves. So what I'm hearing from you is to be like a really strong role model
Mhm.
in terms of, I suppose, mind, body, and spirit, really.
Particularly
Yeah.
that I think is the biggest gift you can give anyone
Mm.
who's working under you, is just like, can I be demonstrating that I am kind, I am compassion, and I am positive in going after what I want, and that allows you then to kind of not be dropping anybody else's energy based on whatever's going on for you as well.
Yeah, right. So what are the key mindset attributes that you need to adopt to be really successful at manifesting? Because obviously it all starts with what you're thinking.
Yes, so your thoughts become your reality at the end of the day. So thoughts is part of it, which is why the language challenge is so important. But that can just be as simple right now. I mean, if there's something you could take away from this podcast, it would be, let's drop the word need, must, have to, should. Drop those four. Even just that right now is going to free you up, because need, must, have to, and should are all obligation words, and so they don't suggest that you're having inspired action. They don't suggest that you're doing anything that you want to do. They do suggest that you're dropping your energy down. So even just changing your language around that, I'm choosing to do this, I'm looking forward to doing this, those kinds of things can just be a big enough, like a little tiny shift that you can make, that's just going to just start things going. The other thing I always recommend is, can you be more observant? We tend to be a little bit bogged down in life, and so that might mean that we're kind of running autopilot a lot of the time. And so if you can start looking out, I get everyone in my classes at Eden to get a proof journal. So it's a little notebook or a page in their phone where they're going to write down all the small wins and synchronicities that are happening every day. And if you can actually allow yourself to do that, you just do it for 30 to 60 days until you've trained yourself to notice more good stuff around you, you're already shifting your mindset enough. You're becoming more observant. And then once you've trained yourself to become more observant for all the positive things that are going on, including the little, shoulder taps from the universe that are kind of like, good job, you were brave today. Then from there, you also then start becoming more observant to your thoughts. And when we understand that we don't actually have to listen to all of our thoughts, and a lot of our thoughts aren't really that useful, a lot of them are real throwbacks to when we needed to worry about saber-toothed tigers. We just haven't evolved enough, that then we can actually start becoming even healthier in our mindset, and mindset shifts as well. So I think it's really focus on the language, celebrate the small wins, and be observant. And also, like, observant like a scientist. Have a scientist mind to what you're doing. If you're getting mad about something, then you say, okay, why? Well, this is really interesting. Why is this making me so mad today? Because once you've had that thought, it doesn't own you in the same way. It doesn't have the same power over you, and that's really powerful.
Yeah, I love that. It's like being really curious about what's going on
Yeah.
for
And
you.
then what's really interesting when you get to that point, then you're almost like, ooh, look what I did today. And you're like, that's not making you as like, it's not dropping your energy so much. It's really powerful.
So for those who aren't experienced with the manifesting, when you say taps on the shoulder from the universe,
Yeah.
like what might that look like? Or what are they like? Is it a feeling? Is it
Mm,
is
I'll
it
give you
something that they're seeing?
I'll give you a little story. I like the story. So basically, I decided I wanted some photos for my Instagram page, and I wanted to, get professional photos done, but I wasn't very comfortable. I'm not very comfortable having my photo taken, and so I signed up for this Snaps and Shamps event. So it was like a photography event. There were 5 girls there. You had 2 outfit changes and some delicious cakes, and so I went there, and I was so nervous, and my energy dropped so much, and I couldn't get myself out of it. Breathwork did not work. Everything, I was just nervous. So I just owned it. I'm nervous. This is fine. And I show up, and then I just was kind of like, okay, I'm just going to channel, Tyra Banks. And I'm giving it all these model poses. I'm still uncomfortable inside, but I'm faking it till I make it. And then we have our break. And then in the break, I get a ping on my phone from Instagram, and I'd won a prize. That's the type of shoulder tap, right? So I come out, so I'm okay. So the next round, I'm going to be a little bit braver because I'm like, I just won a prize. My energy's gone up, right? So even though I'm still uncomfortable, I'm like, okay, I'm going for it. Round 2. I come out of there. I come outside, rainbow through a sunset. So that would go in your proof journal. Then I see a cat on a leash. We both love cats. So, that's like 1,000 points. Friendly, so I get it as well. And then I'm on the drive home. The car in front of me, the number plate is ZME, which is my business initial, Zoe Mac Energy. And so I'm like, oh. Now you could say that's such a coincidence, but it serves me to think more about that's magic for me than a coincidence, because that means that I'm taking energy from that experience. The next time I need to be brave, I'm going to be braver, and I'm feeling elevated about that, even though I was really uncomfortable today, that I went for it. So that's kind of the experience. I mean, it's kind of looking out for these, like, if you're going to be brave towards your manifestation, watch for the little signs and symbols. And they might be personal to you. You might love white feathers because they remind you of your nan, and you might get 3 white feathers that afternoon. It can be anything, but just choosing to take fuel from little experiences to boost yourself up, to boost your energy up, to allow your manifestation to come in faster and easier, and to allow you to be braver.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, because I hear a lot of people talking about numbers. So when they see 1111 or something like that, it's like, oh, that's a sign from the universe that I'm on the right track.
Yes. I love number plates. There's like free energy driving around all the time. You're like 777. Your manifestation is ready to take 555. Change is coming, and it's just like this. It's just this. Can you just make a decision to take more energy out of your day? That's really a big part of the proof journal. Is like, can you just choose that you're going to seek moments of excitement throughout the day, and instead of being like, oh, rainbow, there's a rainbow, you're like, wow, rainbow. And you're not only taking the energy hit of that, you're getting dopamine from that as well. You're helping towards your neural pathways, towards a more positive mindset, which I know from my own experience definitely changes things.
Yes, because I know for me, I always look for a butterfly for the universe to tell me that I'm on the right track. And it's amazing how they just like randomly show up, and you're like, wow. Yeah, and they do, right?
Yeah, and I always like to say as well, like, you and I probably call it the universe. Some people might call it God, higher self, energy, flow, call it whatever you want. Understanding that you kind of like the journey that you're on is not for you to slog out 100% by yourself. That there is kind of, if you're allowing flow, you're allowing yourself to be kind of open to different places, people, and things to help you get what you want.
Yeah, okay. And so I know you mentioned some key things before, particularly around, the language, the celebrating and observing. But what are your 3 top tips for manifesting? Like, if someone was going to go, okay, I'm going to give this a go because I'd like to win a prize, and I'd like to win a trip to the Outback, which you've just won or been offered, and I sort of want to do that.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I just say, even if you're cynical about absolutely everything I've said, then just start a proof journal. So it can just be a note in your phone, a page on your phone, as notes in your phone, or it can be a little notebook that you carry around just for about 30 to 60 days. We're just going to train yourself to notice more magic.
Yeah.
It's what goes in there. It's the, running late and the traffic lights were green. It's the rockstar car parks. It's the upgrade on your coffee. It's the compliment. It's the, praise from your boss. It's the praise from your employer. So it's like whatever is there that is fuel, that can be fuel, you're going to get more out of that. You're going to woo instead of kind of from that experience. So just training yourself really to just get more elevated in your experience there, and just kind of take more from what's happening on a day-to-day basis. The other thing that's really helpful is, can you come from a place of gratitude, not lack? So what we sometimes have is, I need this. Now, need is a low vibration, right? Need is implying you don't have something and it's terrible that you don't have it. But if you say, I've got all these amazing things, your life's good, and you've got all these amazing things happen, and this would be a bonus, your attitude shifts so quickly with that. So much easier to manage. You can manifest from like it's just way, way harder. So if you want to make it easier, can you come from a place of gratitude? So that might mean having, every day you write down 3 things you're most grateful for that day. Do your absolute best not to repeat anything. But you also might just have a gratitude list. So just a running list where you just, every time you think of something new that you love, you add it to the list. So that if someone said to you, drop and give me 20 things that you love, you're like, and you can do it instead of kind of being like, because if I ask a lot of people, they'll get to about 5 and they can't think of anything. Or be that if they've got a bigger family, they've just only family members and they can't think of anything else. So that really helps as well. The other thing is the harder part, which is to work on following flow and to be less controlling. Yes.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's really hard for a control freak.
No, and I'm a former control freak, and to be honest, a lot of the good stuff that changed, particularly like being able to do energy healing and more intuitive coaching, came from letting go of control, came from needing to know what everything was and meant. Letting go of that was really freeing because we're not in flow if we're trying to micromanage everything. And if you have this one expectation of how something's going to show up in your life, it's way, way harder to get it exactly that way versus the other ways that the universe might sneak things into you. So, we've all probably had friends who have that 25-point checklist of what their future partner's going to have, and it's really specific, 6'2" to 6'4", white car, like it's just so specific that it's, you just kind of be like, how are you going to find this person? So we want to really be focused on emotions and feelings more than a checklist and really allow ourselves to be like, okay, am I trying to control the outcome here? So I always get people to write around their manifestation, this or better, because you're saying this is what I believe is possible for me. But actually, if you say this or better, what you're saying is I'm open to more. And so that's really freeing as well. So I would just say, start a proof journal would be my number one. Check that you're coming from a place of gratitude, not lack. And then also work on, this is the harder thing. So just day to day, can you find moments to loosen control? Now, that might not be in your job. That might not be when you're running around trying to get the kids sorted. But that could just be like, when you're playing with the animals or when you're doing that yoga class or when you're taking a stroll on the beach. It's just like, can you come from a place of flow just to serve you a lot better?
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Love it. The word want. What do you think about the word want?
I don't have a problem with want because want implies something positive that you would like to have in your life.
Yeah.
But I think if we're looking to manifest, it doesn't work. So language for manifesting, we write. If we want to write it down, we write in the present tense like it's happening right now. Start getting into the energy of what's this feel like. And we can't do that if we want. Want implies an unknown desire, I think. And so if we can get into what is that, what do we know about that desire, we're giving ourselves a lot more freedom there.
And I love what you said about that, you're looking to create this or better.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really key distinction as well, because it's not, as you say, that's loosening that control. It's like not being so specific.
Yeah. And it also is really helpful. So I get asked a bit because, well, what happens if you didn't get them? You must have not had some manifestations come to life. Well, absolutely, of course. But my mindset around that is if it didn't come to me, it wasn't mine. And then also that if the universe didn't have what I thought I wanted for me, it's probably got something better. So that allows you as well. Like surrender is such a part, it's, such an important part of manifesting. That's like letting go of control. But sometimes that can be very challenging. So if you can kind of notice that your energy is dropping down because something is not arriving as you expected, can you loosen up that? Can you surrender to what it is? And can you say, well, if it's not this, then there must be something better on its way. And you wait for that thing to come in.
Yeah, because I find that could be really powerful for people who are wanting to achieve a particular goal. So whether that be a promotion or they're wanting, they've put a pitch forward to win a contract or whatever that might look like. And, when that door closes, people can feel incredibly down. I mean, myself, it's like, oh, that's rejection. And then we make it mean something about ourselves. But I think it's that acceptance. It's like, okay, well, that opportunity wasn't for me. That was for someone else, and I'll be happy for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
think it's
there's,
really important. It's really challenging. So I don't want to sugarcoat it and say this is an easy thing to override. It's not, because the rejection piece is really strong. Sense of need, the sense of needing control is very strong. So this is probably the hardest part about manifesting. If it's not coming exactly as you planned, is how you're going to relax enough so you're not dropping your energy down so much that it's even harder to get anything. So that just comes in and just kind of like, we have a monkey mind, we have our ego. It's just remembering you don't have to always listen to it. So generally, if I hear my ego trying to give me some back chat around like, you can't have this, or that's not going to work, then I'll just be like, not right now, or thank you, not right now. I'm going to just keep going down this path. Like I've just started, I talk in my workshops around like making sure you've got time for play in every day, like time for joy, time for connection, because that's going to boost your energy. And so I just was like, I've always wanted to be in a marching band. And so I signed up for marching band drumming lessons. So random. And I've done 3 lessons now, and in every single lesson my ego's been like, you can't do this. The first, straight at the beginning of the lessons as well, like first time, well, you can't read music, you're never going to be able to get this. And so I just go, no, that's okay. I'm here, I've signed up for this lesson, I've signed up for 4 weeks, I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to decide after that. And of course I'm going to keep going. It just allows me to just kind of be like, that thought I'm not listening to right now, and you just push it away. But I always push it away with a nice thank you, because your ego's job is here to keep you safe, and it does that to keep you small. And so when you know that, then you'd be like, oh, it's just trying to be a really good team player here. But actually, somehow he thinks he's the CEO and I'm the CEO.
I love that. Exactly. You're the CEO, not your ego.
Get back to being a PA, doing all the checking, being observant, checking off all the lists, doing all of that stuff. But actually, your job is to be my assistant, not my driver.
Yes. Awesome. I think that's such a powerful note to finish our chat on, Zoe. So it's been wonderful talking to you today.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you being part of the Leading You podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me so much. Thank you.
Pleasure.